All right. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see this there. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Looks like you can. Hold on. Moving things around the desktop here. It sounds good. Cool. Thank you, Nero. All right. All right. Sorry. Gonna move a bunch of things around here. Let me see. I gotta get this a little bit lower. There we go. All right. No K voice today. No, it's the right. It's pulling from the right microphone today. The funny thing is the K voice. So that microphone, so the way that I have the desk set up now, I have the two ultra wides on top of each other, like stacked. To the left of that, I have the one that I broadcast from. The microphone is on the complete other side, like on a boom arm, like up closer to one of the monitors. It's like 3 feet away, so it's not surprising that yeah, it sounded like it was inside of a cave. So yeah, got that fixed. All right, so let's dive into things right off the bat. Jen went to school today, but Kip is still home. I don't think Melissa has any meetings today, but um, she hasn't messaged me yet, so don't know. I think no. I think Kip did pretty good yesterday. He was dancing, and once I got him on my lap, he was quiet. So proof that it can be done, right? Proof that it can be done. So funny. So he's on the growth spurt time right now. So we're following his trajectory versus the boys. So the boys, we have their 2 month and their 4 month weights. We don't have their 3 month, but at 2 months he was ahead. He was bigger than both of them at birth, obviously, because they were twins. But yeah, but they took off. This was like their huge, like they gained like 7 pounds between like 2 months and 4 months. So I think we measured Kip the other day. Kip is like 2 pounds down. I'm like, all right, buddy, you got 3.5 weeks. You need to gain 2 pounds. Let's go. you know, so he may be short, but he's a thick boy. So it's like the race. She's like, stop. It's different kids. I'm like, no, no, no. He's got to be bigger. He's got to be bigger. Meanwhile, Reese is already like bigger than Melissa at 11 years old. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure within probably by the time he's in ninth grade, I'm assuming he'll be my height or probably taller. So we'll see. Kip, I don't know that Kip will make it over 5'10" because Melissa's only 5'1". So she says 5'2", but I think she's 5'1". She rounds up, but yeah, Reese is taller than her now. So anyway, starting out the morning, biggest mover is obviously the pound. You're seeing 75 down versus the pound dollar, pound yen, 129. Their number was absolutely horrid. I did not think it was going to be this bad. I didn't think forecast was going to hit. I thought the forecast was a little bit crazy there. Did not spec 3.7 is an absolutely enormous number. Yeah, and look, pound sinks on record retail sales miss. So yeah, so I guess yes, so it was big. Actually, now I'm curious. Let's see. Is this the biggest of all time? Um, in the worst. Okay, I was trying to say it's like it's a record. Record? What are you talking about? Record? But yeah, huge miss. The funny part is it started moving yesterday at 11 o'clock. So it you see these moves, but there was not enormous parabolic movement from this because as of like 11 o'clock yesterday, it's been going straight down. So again, it's just got to say, feel like everybody knew what the number was, or the important people knew what the number was. Because this is it's a record number, but yet there was a 30 pip spike total, 30 pips, right? And then it's going back into its regular, impulse correction move. So funny how that works out. Besides, and again, euro pound, you can see up 46. Nice little level that it bounced off of as well. But for the most part, everything else is pretty tempered for a Friday. With this much moving this early, I do expect things will probably slow down later on this afternoon. But with this movement, it's decent enough. I think there's actually, in looking at charts, there's actually some, I would say, pretty good opportunities for Sunday night trades this week. I always hate weeks, and again, I don't always update the levels for news to other people. I don't typically update the levels when it's a Monday holiday, just because it's such a scattered. The gap doesn't necessarily work when you have the biggest player missing from it. So I don't update them, but this week I'm actually pretty excited to get all these updated, and I think this is going to be a good week for gaps. There's just been enough movement, enough headlines right now, and the headlines coming through are really great headlines. Some of the things in here. Now, this is a big one. Despite Biden and Macron, Western allies remain united against Russia. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. I'll have to dive in that one later today. But yeah, I mean, really the biggest contagion is Russia. If we can make it through Saturday, I think we'll be good. Like I said, they send troops and, I guess Biden made a comment yesterday, which again, I feel like maybe he said it or maybe they translated it wrong, but I was like, is that correct grammar? I feel like that is not correct grammar. But basically said if one troop crosses the border, he's considering an invasion. I don't know if that means he's going to do anything about it or what, but that was his statement. I guess it's kind of like, do we call their bluff or not? Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But the last couple times that Russia has annexed, it's always been on the weekend. So they're like, oh, they're on the weekend. Nobody's going to pay attention. They're not working. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think this is going to be a good weekend for trade setups. I'm actually really excited about it, based off of all the charts. Um, did finish my deck for Tuesday. I had to shorten it and take lots out. I put way too much in it again. If you guys can believe that. So yeah, I don't know if you heard me earlier. I'm actually going to mention three different strategies that people use with Bollinger Bands. So again, it's not, you guys know what I throw up on charts, and I use it in a specific way, but I'm going to mention kind of three different ways that people will use it. Right? It's very rare that I give out one versus three strategies in one session. So yeah, I finished it up, and like I said, I had to pull some stuff out. I was like, well, this would be good to add in there, and then this would be good to add in there, and I was like, oh wait, I only got 45 minutes, so I spent last night pulling stuff back out. Um, but I think I'm talking at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. I think it's 2 to 2:45. So should be good. But yeah, we're gonna dive into Bollinger Bands. We'll do present B. We'll do width, and then even we'll talk about some other things that I don't normally mention to you guys. I'll look at, but I don't mention it all the time. So yeah, should be good. Should be a good session. A little bit different than what I've done in the past. So yeah, we'll see. Obviously, no news tomorrow, right? No news Saturday or Sunday, and then Monday morning early on, we get all the manufacturing and services data. So this is kind of what I mean by I think Sunday night's going to be interesting. So much data to kind of get, kind of just diving right in there. And then Monday night we have the CPI quarterly figures for Australia, right? So again expected to be on the positive side, still growing. Again, Australia could be talking about interest rate rises soon too, but I think all this flash madness factoring early on. Again, we get those gaps, and then it kind of rolls right into all this news. Super super early Monday morning. Um, Going to be interesting to say the least. Yeah, yeah, Neuro. It's funny. There's so many. It. I've always liked Bollinger Bands because you know how big I am on like the idea of statistics and incorporating that into trading and odds. So that's why I like it. But I will say, I mean, I joked yesterday. Yes, John Bollinger is still alive, and that's like his joke. That yep, I'm still alive, everybody. Because some guy asked me, he's like, "Wait, you're not dead?" Um, but man, it's like it is definitely the he's definitely like a mathematician type guy. Um, it definitely takes like I don't think I could, he has like big trainings and things like that that you can, purchase. And, he has, you guys know how I am about, let's keep it as simple as possible, right? I mean, he has the tools that he uses, and then he has 22 rules, right? He has 22 rules that you have to follow. Um, 22 rules is way too much. I mean, it's like, holy crap. Like the amount of time it would take me to cycle through 22 rules and then not be like, whoop, shiny object squirrel, right? It's kind of crazy. So I like what he has. I think, I think that's the important thing to remember that, all these tools that these guys create and indicators, you know, you got to craft anything that you do, you craft a you, right? Your system. Like it's funny. You do like a search and, you try to see, one of the sections is what do you like, you know, what do you pair Bollinger Bands with? Right? They are not a standalone tool. He even says that you need to have two or three other indicators to go with it. But he does say if you have one momentum indicator, don't use a second momentum indicator. Having two momentum indicators is not better than one momentum indicator, right? It causes problems. How does it remember 20? I at 71, I have no idea, Neuro, but he's like an engineer. He's like an engineer mathematician. So it doesn't surprise me that he has 22. He doesn't remember them. He probably just writes them down and has like checklists and other things. Um, but you know, it is interesting, and you can see how many people use them the wrong way, but it can still work for them, And you see these, quote experts is like, oh, this is the biggest joke. You're only going to be right, 34% of the time if you did it this way. It's like, really? Because if you use the correct money management, 33% means your account's in the green, dude. Like you're bashing 33%, but if you understand money management, that's great. That's great, right? I mean, if you have something that works over 26% of the time, you're making bank, right? So yeah, it's funny that these people are like this is crap if you do just this. It's like okay, well, what if you combine it with something else? What if you can get that to 50? Is that even better? What about 60? But again, we focus on our risk of reward. Setting up one to threes, and 26% of the time, if you're correct, again, and then if you do that and it's 34%, that's a winning strategy. You're not even using it the right way. So yeah, um, yeah, and actually, Eki, and that's where it came from. The Financial News Network is actually where he released it. He didn't even have a name for it. He just called them, these bands, right? This envelope, and the broadcaster on FFN in the '80s said, okay, well, we'll call these Bollinger Bands. That's where the name came from, actually. Yeah, yep. It's funny. He didn't create the tool with the name and be like, "Hey, these are called Bollinger Bands." Yeah, he had no name for it. He just said this is what he's doing, because they needed a way to have like an adaptive envelope. At the time, there was non-adaptive envelopes, and obviously volatility changes throughout the day, so that's why they were created. Yeah, yep, yep. That's exactly where they came from. And then the interviewer or whoever the main talk show, whoever the host was the guy that actually labeled it Bollinger Bands. So yeah, kind of a cool little story there, right? But yeah, created in the '80s, and then all the new stuff he has, the width and everything, was actually created a lot more recently, in like the last 12 years or something like that. Um, so yeah, he's still out there and still kicking, still kicking. Um, all right, so again, a lot of stories coming in. You're seeing a lot of stuff. Defend slower ACB action as Fed nears rate liftoff. So yeah, I mean, we warned you guys, warned everybody last year that the ECB was like, "Yep, we have our method, and then we're going to switch everything up in December." And now we're in January, so everybody's talking about what we're doing. So I mean, I said 2022 would be the year of currencies, and it's already starting to. I mean, we're 1 month in, and we already got Bloomberg giving stuff, talking about it. You know, over here, 25, but maybe, more people are starting to fall into the 50. I'm telling you right now, like, this is a mic drop. If we do a 50 that first raise, man, I'm going to be like, hey, here's my videos for the last 5 months. And I've been talking about a double. Watch for a double, watch for a double, watch for a double. And if it comes in, I'm like, see, your boy knows stuff, right? Um, the market policy. Ernest, I have no idea. I mean, you can find him on this website, right? But it's crazy. His 22 rules. I'm like, holy crap, really? Really? I mean, some of them aren't like aren't they're not trade specific. Um, like the example is like two standard deviations, right? Everybody knows that the Bollinger Bands are two standard deviations out. According to math, two standard deviations should include 90% of the 95% of the variations that exist, right? He says in practice, Bollinger Bands typically keep things in there 90% of the time, even though they are two standard deviations, because it's fluid, right? Which makes sense. But it's like one of those things. Like, just understand, guys, that this is about probabilities. It's nice to say that there's a bell curve, but because they are constantly changing around, that's why you're seeing it about 90% of the time, not 95. So many people look at that and be like, no, no, bell curve, two standard, 95% of the time. No, it's actually 90, is what he says. Um, He's younger than my wife's boyfriend, Chuck. So he's more. Yeah, exactly. I'll give him credit for it, right. All right. So let's go across. Let's start looking at the Dixie first. So Dixie, we talked about it yesterday. We kind of had a level here, and we kind of broke through, but formed a new level up top with some testing. That's actually what we hit. And there was a little bit of a gap yesterday afternoon, and now we're pulling back down again. Yesterday, I mentioned this level at 95.43. It's a level that's been hit 3 times, and really, there's not much we can do besides that, right? We're not trading the Dixie straight, but I think with where we are right now, with it kind of pulling back down again, obviously, anytime that they talk about the Fed raising, it's going to give us a little bit of a jump. But we know they're not going to release it until next week. Right now, the dollar, I would say, is probably in positioning mode, if that makes sense. It's going to position itself for the Fed to, when they make their announcement next week of what the raise is going to be and when. March, and then whether it's 25 or 50, again, I think they'll tell us 25, and then the 50 will be the surprise, is what kind of how I envision it. Um, the dollar, I think we're going to see a bit more weakness. Okay. I am curious to see if we can hold this 95.43. I would like to see, really, I'd like to see us push down before we have the actual Fed giving us that information. So I think we see dollar weakness really just in preparation for next week as the market prepares for it. Because remember, if it comes in strong dollar, where we see dollar strength, it needs to pull back down so buyers can get in early, get it on the cheap, get it on sale, right? So that's kind of where we're going first. So we're going to start off with the Aussie dollar. All right. I will say, yesterday, and I don't know if you guys are doing this as well. I actually did get an email, a person like, "Are you going to do alerts? Or did I hear alerts in one of your webinars?" I talked about potentially doing, really kind of talking about setting the alerts that we set up in Chart School. And I don't know if you guys set these alerts on yours or not. Yesterday, I had, I don't know, 6, 7 alerts go off. I had numerous alerts go off yesterday for all these different trade setups that we talked about. You can see that this one is still kind of sitting there. Um, Kind of one of those things that I'm still debating it, is not so much like I don't know, not so much a trade setup, although pretty much all of our alerts are set up around trades. I don't know what I want to do with it. Um, but it's definitely something I'm kind of messing around with the idea with is basically having the alerts pop up to where it could be, people can get notifications from it. Um, I think it would be helpful. I think it'd be helpful, but I'm not sure how to do it correctly, or what would be the best bet. But this is one of the examples. We were talking about a breakthrough and it did. It gave us a pullback. Um, After it based and kind of cycled back in here, this is one of those ones that you could have been like, yeah, look, we got our one, we got our two, we got our three. It spiked up and closed above. Do we take the full confirmation? You could have. You didn't have to. And we've actually just come up to it yet again. So it's kind of tagged itself multiple ways. But I mean, you guys can see it sliced through, came up, grabbed it again, and now it's almost pushing back down again. So this is just one of the examples. We mentioned it coming all the way down and really touching the 7182. It did. It did it on the third candle in, and then kind of us push back again. So I would say this is probably the area now where I'd be looking for really, again, because it's Friday. We know we got a bunch of buyers kind of sitting in this level at 7180. Can we derail that? I don't know. I mean, we just saw the dollar index is getting weaker, but yet this is having dollar strength versus the Aussie. I kind of like the positioning of this pushing down. As I mentioned, news wise, on Monday night, we have the CPI number. It's expected to be positive. It comes above. Again, Australia, bam, we can start raising interest rates as well. So I kind of like this one coming down, and I'm curious to see I mean, there could be an argument saying, right here that listen, if this is where we open Sunday, we go long, right? We ride. We ride at midnight, basically, right? It's hit it a few times. They're getting higher, higher, and higher. It's a decent base. It's a one candle bottom. We got to push up and a confirmation off of it. It's got a what 22 pips to the downside. We can absolutely fluctuate back and forth. And I expect when we come down to this black line again, I expect some buyers to step in. And question is there going to be enough movement this afternoon or enough kind of driving force to kind of bounce us around? And then the question is, again, will Russia do its thing on Saturday? And that would obviously affect us also. But if not, if we open lower here, is this in preparation for a long opportunity on Monday? Early, between Sunday night and Monday morning. Right. So, right now, obviously the trade is out. If you're already in another one, you have a second opportunity in there, trail it to the downside. Again, a little bit risky with the kind of the rollover of the session coming in. But, again, this was one of those ones from yesterday. And I think right now, we mentioned that really kind of top and bottom wise, the areas that we were looking for was a really kind of an overall target down here at 7126. But it did find all the buyers. And the big thing was we wanted to capture this big spike, but then after that, there really wasn't a long for this week. There was one level here and then a little level, a little testing down here, but this was the true clean kind of target. Right now, with the buyers coming back in again, I think that this could be a potential trade going forward. Especially if we take some fibs and run some fibs on this down, you can see that the 50 is also sitting right here, right, right there, right around the 50%. So, you know, I would say for Sunday, we got one little area up top, right? We got one little area here at 72.24. And again, depending on if we can maintain and not break through this could be an area for, Sundays. Again, we'll see once the gap is formed, but I definitely think this one has some great potential for a Sunday night trade. I know you guys love love trading the Aussie there. Um, Aussie yen. This one not as clean. We had that old area, and I kind of slid it across for the Natick section. We were sitting here, and it's like, yep, it based right on there, and that would be now the 78, the 61.8 pullback. Um, Not really as clean, right? Not a super super clean trade in there. At this point, I think we still wait till we get down to this 81.36. It's a decent runner from now forward. 46 pips. It's probably not going to drop 46 pips today. That'd be a lot of movement. If it did, if it drops 46 pips down to trigger that trade, in reality, I don't think that we can. I don't think it's enough time to drop 46 and then turn around and turn right back up again and run 30. I don't think we can get 70 down up on this one on a Friday afternoon. But again, if we can start petering back down again, that could also be give us the ability to get long something for Aussie with all the news and again, anything happens, gold spikes, anything, inflation comments today, tomorrow, Sunday. I do think it is it kind of matches up what we're seeing the Aussie dollar, but Aussie yen. But right now, 81.36 is kind of what we're looking for fib wise. I'm not really excited about any of it. If it does come down though, that's where we start getting into having the 50 be around areas that we could potentially be looking for. So that's why I think it's a decent spot. And again, I'll just drop this down here. Um, Again, your 50 would be kind of right in that area. So no trade setup, unfortunately, for the Aussie yen right now, but I think Sunday night we have a potential long. And again, kind of similar to long that we saw in the Aussie dollar. Now, euro pound. Um, Here's where we were yesterday, right here, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Okay. We talked about, 83.09. This one actually gave us massive amounts of movement, right? So it basically, we talked about how we were probably going to stay in the new channel. It did come up, it gave us a little hiccup, and then the data came in, and the data basically supported what it saw in the overnight. So great trade setup. If you guys got into this one, again, I told you I wasn't trading this one. There wasn't enough meat, but now it's actually gone quite far. So this is one of those missed opportunities. This is a big one. I mean, from yesterday at 12, it's about 70 pips. Now, again, I wouldn't have held it past this if he did. But yeah, so it confirmed that bottom. You know, we were looking for what, 25, 26 off of it. So I think it's nice. I like it. I will say now, though, where we are, we know that we had a level here. And again, it wasn't a level we were looking to get short off of. Push it here, push it here, push it here, and then kind of broke through. If we move this up and kind of box in this new area, that's what we were basically bouncing off of. That's where your upper target. And in reality, my target would have been here for this long. I said I didn't get into it. I didn't think there was going to be enough room. And I was really looking for this one to kind of disappoint, but not as bad as it did. Your target should have been here where this was turning. This would have been your right profit target. So um, right now, with the euro talking about raising rates, UK missing that number. I think right now it needs to cycle itself out. I think in reality, I don't think the retail sales number matters as much if they're going to start raising interest rates and controlling inflation. And again, remember the UK is a little bit more progressive. I think we probably get a rollback. Question is, do we reestablish the same channel again? You know, um, and I would say the area that we have here, absolutely be looking at it. It took a bounce off of it. I think actually, maybe even a little bit lower. But I think if we roll, I would say, let me see how much we got. See, this is the problem that I have with this one. I love the setup. It's only about 21 pips, right? It's almost kind of looking for somewhat of a collapse through that level and then pushing back down. And yeah, it's great. It's just small. It's a 4.5 pip zone, you know. But level turned, level was good, and again, we've seen pound destruction in everything. So again, euro pound was really the first one to set that one off. Euro yen. So here's your euro yen. Um, I mean, again, pretty simple. Here's your base on the 20th, right? Late last night. Draw it through. You can see that we had a more or less European. It was actually 330 that it hit, not three. But here was the alert from yesterday. You guys can see a break of the 129.04. There was the break yesterday. That was another one of the alerts that we had, looking for that breakthrough. It pulled back. It didn't come all the way up. And again, with all the basing in there, that's kind of your, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you can take that one. But again, there was the trade setup. Redrew the fibs, and guess what? Drawing at 50%, came right back up and grabbed the level this morning. And I don't know. I feel like it was close. Again, this was a European session open trade. Yeah, 1 to 3 is right there. So yeah, it's out as well. So that one is done. Right, that is done. There's just been so many trade setups in the last 24 hours. But this was another one, the short from yesterday, and again breaking through late last night. And again, was another alert. My email literally was like ding, 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 ding. I was getting all kinds of alerts. And then again, simple retracement back, overlapping fibs as well as you know, a nice little supply zone there. So, but that one is out. Nothing we can do with it right now. Now it's just kind of chopping, going sideways. Um, I'm curious to see with this one where the yen goes for today. Again, right now it's really kind of choppy back and forth. I do think with all the talk out of the euro, I do think this one will try to kind of. I do think that this one is probably a more bullish kind of opinionated on this one, but I think it needs to pull back. Right now, I would say tentatively. Let's see, how much is it down? It's only about 35 pips. It's 12. It's 13. Hmm. It could potentially be a level for Sunday, right there. Could. One candle bottom, love the shape of it. It's the exact shape that I like. 13.8 is a little bit big on this pair for me, but it is kind of tested. Could be a level. Could be a level. I don't think I'd trade it today. But again, that could be a Sunday thing. Yeah, it'd have to drop 37 pips. I don't know if we can get 37 pips down with a reversal, and then I think we'll kind of run out of steam later on this afternoon. But again, this is at this point, this is more of a yen play than it is anything else. There's probably still some headlines coming. Um, yeah, confidence is down. Pre-pandemic. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like you said, there's two trades on this one. There's really not a lot else we can do right now. So wait, top and bottom. Um, you could potentially take this 50 for one more run. I think it only barely briefly touched it, and it's decent. Like I said, there'll be psychological traders that are looking at that one to the top side. But I do think that really, I think this one's just going to continue to push lower. I think use the 50 for the weekend, and again, grab your bottom section. But yeah, there's two trades from yesterday. Um, pound, the euro dollar. So euro actually got stopped out of break even, right? So we talked about a level down here. It did come down. It did give us kind of a base through. It did give us a pullback and an entry, and then it went down just a little bit farther, and then bam, ran into some buyers and came back and got stopped out of break even. So nothing you can do about it. Like I said, of all the different things out there, every single one of them is not going to work. This was a stop out of break even, and in reality, we haven't really changed much. Um, you know, 24-hour pip change is 4 pips. So 3 pips, 3 pips. With all this other gigantic movement, this one is 2 pips. Oh, there we go, back to 3. So yeah, it happens. It's still stuck in the same area. And again, the 135.85 is an area we had marked off. It's here, there, decent candle. Love the way that candle is shaped, and that's all we went off of. So I think the problem with this one right now is there's not enough momentum. It's yeah, U.S. is going to raise rates. Oh wait, the EU is going to raise rates too. Okay, so it's kind of one of those strong wipeouts is what we got. But yeah, so this was one of the alerts last night that again stopped out of break even. It went a little bit over 1 to 1. I think it made it to 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. It made it to actually 1.165 is what it made it to, right? So it made it to 165. So again, whenever you get that far, your stop loss is break even. You're banking it, and that's it. So no big deal, no harm, no foul. I'd like to see what it does when it comes back down. I wouldn't take another short out of this one, not from that level. But could we look at this one a little bit lower and say, hey, wait a second, there was a base here and another base there, which pushed it down. Could we potentially move this lower? Yeah, we could. We could, but this would also be a Sunday, Monday morning thing. Reason why I'm looking at this as well is because Monday morning, you got all this right here. Okay. And again, Germany just cut their GDP, which their first quarter GDP just dropped. Here you go. I'm sorry, not first quarter. They lowered their 2022 GDP forecast to 3.6 from 4.1. If they're dropping their GDP, where are they getting that information from? Most like me manufacturing. So yeah, they're expecting an adjustment down. Again, this should be some negativity on that, which leads us into if we can come back down in the overnight, start basing here before that news, we get bad bad manufacturing data, straight to the downside. So could be a very, very cool one right there. All right. But we got a couple days for that one to really kick in. The pound. There's your pound. Right. So this one really started to deteriorate. I mean, it's been a constant deterioration. I mean, this hit on the 19th, right? We had that 50% pullback right into a medium level. Great little pullback there. Now it's just been steady. I mean, the news came in, the data came in right here. There was no real major explosion, right? It bounced and hit off the 54, right? The 154.41 has been our target, right? That's why it's in black. It teased this, it finally hit, and then finally drove through. And interesting enough, it did give us a little Harry Potter short in there, right? Used that level, came back up and pushed. We weren't setting up an initial short on this one, but again, that's where we're looking for targets. And I mentioned that we were kind of sitting in here, and this was going to be a little bit of a funky area, right? No real major large bodied candles, so there wasn't really a long in here we're interested in. There is a small little level there with a run down, so there is the potential on this one for somewhat of a Harry Potter trade, right? If you bring it across, that's kind of where we're at right now. Problem with this, if this was like a Tuesday, I'd be all over this one. Problem is right now, it's a Friday. There's only an hour, 2 hours left to go. Does this one kind of come down? It's potential, yeah. Question is, do you want to run the pound? That's 2.9. 3 is right there. Do you want to hold the pound yen over the weekend? It's what dreams are made of. You have that little guy telling you it'll make you feel good, right? But Is there a lot of risk in this one? Yeah, absolutely. Right. And again, if you wanted to kind of track this one, I would only track it. I would only track it to there. Let's see. Dream Killer is what I'm gonna entitle that one. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. it's it's how do I say this? It's one of those things that is so tempting. People are like, "Oh my god, it's down another 0.7%. Look at this thing; it's deteriorating." But do you really want to sell it at the bottom? Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, it's a hard one. So, you know, I think there's been so many trades this morning thus far, guys. It's kind of one of those ones. If you really are desperate to grab something, sure, I guess go ahead, take it. But again, know that there's going to be a lot of risk carrying this one over the weekend. And there is, there is pound data. They do have their flash manufacturing 4:30 in the morning on Monday morning. So there is some data that could potentially help this one. Do I think there'll be a little reversal? Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm still bullish overall the pound. I don't think the pound is, like I said, the island is not going underwater. Um, I think finding good opportunities to buy but right now, working with what we have over here, we got a couple spikes in there. There's really not a whole lot to I mean, I guess there's an okay level right here. It's all right. It's tested and has a nice push off of it. So yeah, maybe we look at that level now. Um let's remove this target just so we don't confuse everybody. Yeah, and look at that. That's kind of in that same level, right? So there's a little testing, so we can't even really truly get a 1 to 3 out of that. So, eh, eh, his dreams and nightmares. Yeah, it's both, and that's the pound yen. People are like, "Oh my god, the pound yen is so great." Yeah, yeah, it's not bad. We were calling for the break of this level, right? We never got the pullback, but I mean, look at it. It has its 4 hits and then sliced right through it, and it just continued to deteriorate. It's almost like the news didn't exist, right? There's not like one gigantic red candle with news that's that record breaking, right? This is supposedly a record breaking miss, and where is it? Where did it come in at? You can't see it on the chart, so kind of like everybody already knew. And then pound dollar. Okay. Pound dollar, here's your 50% retracement. Talked about it in the Natick session earlier today. This one hit at 10:30 yesterday. We talked about the reversal. We drew the fib off the top of the level, just a little bit off, but again, the level was fine. We knew that we had an area of supply up top. So again, this was one from yesterday, from the last time we talked till now. And all it did is it went down. And again, we were not looking to go long from this because it had already pushed it deep. One, two, pushed it deep. Mm, not we won't count it, but then again, you have your three, you're basing in there, you're expecting it to fail. So this is not a level we're looking along from. But there was a trade from yesterday. Again, nice little reversal, 50% pullback. Again, supply and demand, stack it in there with a couple extras. And again, did we need fibs on this one? No, we already had a confirmation. But it's nice that know that hey, listen, there's going to be extra people that are like, yo, 50% retracement, halfway back, baby, take it. And again, you guys are in. And really, if you ran this one, if you were trailing this one, maybe you got yourself out there. Maybe. I mean, that really is just a pullback breaking one level, and it didn't even go above the high. So I mean, God, probably you probably would have taken yourself out there. That's a 1 to 9. That's a 1 to 9. That's an 85 pip runner from yesterday morning, depending on if you trailed it or if you just set and forget it. But even the set and forget was a nice little, you know, it's a nice little run there, right? Actually, you should have been there. Um, what? Talk about 50 something? Yeah, 50 pips. So, yeah, nice little. And again, for me on this one, it's the same thinking. Session is done. If we look down at last word buyers, or you could say, hey, nice little pop here, but yeah, it's been there 3 times. Not really interested in taking a long off of that one. There's a level a little bit lower, maybe a little bit lower, but this is really, really choppy. Don't roll with that one. Next real big test is really down here, and there's been one hit on it, and that's down to 134.33. You get a lot of room there, right? You can see that this runner down is 119 pips. I mean, it's just a little bit over a daily ATR. Really, for me at this point, it's kind of like, all right, how do we find? Let's look for pullback scenarios. And again, if we do the same thing we just did with fibs, I mean, if you take this level here to get us to a decent level, this is kind of what we need. If we want to arguably say, hey, listen, that we need this at the 50%, somewhere in here on the 50, we need price to come down and really take a little bit of a balance off of 135.23. Grab a horizontal line, throw that horizontal line, and let's see, is there any potential there? Yep, it looks like there could be. Again, basing and kind of started to pull off from that, a little front run. So there is potential for a reversal there. So this could be one of those ones. If we can come down and do I love this for long? Absolutely not. But if it gives us a pullback, now all of a sudden, what does it do? It drops to 26 or the 23.6 right in an area where there's some basing, and it throws our 50 kind of in that range. So again, could that be a potential setup for next week? Sure. I don't know if we're going to take the bounce off of that. I don't have a crystal ball, but if it does take a bounce off of that, all of a sudden, bam, your 50% retracement level on fibs also coincides and and follows supply and demand. The same exact trade setup that you had here, we now would have the ability to do it yet again. So again, kind of forecasting for going, into the future. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to turn there or not. We'll be able to take a read off of that one, but we do know that this area here, and actually let's change this so it's a little dotted. We know that there's a potential there for a bounce, but I'm not. It's not a good enough level for me to. Um, actually, we do the yellows. It's not a level that I'm willing to take a long off of. But if it does start to rally back up again, heck yeah, there's a couple trade things in there. So we'll take this off because again, there was our profit target. Oop, nope, not that one. This one we don't need it anymore. And yeah, there's our potential next little setup. All right, dollar CAD, dollar CAD rallying, and again, some of this has to do with oil, right? Oil is it's down a little bit now. It's not 50 cents, but we're still at 84. Um, Oil again chopping back and forth yesterday, so we saw this nice little push up. It was funny. Todd was like, "Oh my god, did you see the oil number was huge?" I'm like, "No, it was point 0.5." What are you talking about? He goes, "Oh, never mind, gas." I was like, "Yes, I knew gas would be high because of the driving." Um, for this one, this is a level that we talked about. I mean, again, we had some of these rollovers here when news were coming out. I think it's a valid level, and again, we can adjust as we get a little bit higher up. Um, a lot of, I would say, right now for this weekend. Crap, there's like two right here. Uh, there, but I think we'll get something there. 125.70. It's probably going to be the 23. Let me see. Just delete that. I like that one. It's actually a little bit higher than that. You should have no problem with that. I think this will be interesting. Again, the oil market closes earlier. I don't know that I'd mess with this today, but I can see this coming up higher. I'm gonna say this is probably like a B rated level. Again, we got the base, it got the confirmation, gave a great response here, was front run over here. The question is, does the sellers at 125.63 come in? There's nothing holding it. It should not have an issue going any higher. I don't think it'll have. I think we can get to this level, 125.58, probably with no issue. You know what? I mean, I'm kind of thinking this one. This is more of a Sunday night play. Let me see. Here, I'm going to use. Is that a cow? It's a cow, not a pig. Do I want to use that one? I'll just use this one. Um, let's see. 23, right there. If we can open up right there, look for a pullback in the European session. Okay. Only reason I say that is because we do have areas of sellers. Okay. Um, actually, you know what? If we get ooh, I would say here's the scenarios I'm thinking about. Russia does do something funky. Okay, it will affect the price of oil. Okay, oil and natural gas should both spike if Russia opens their mouth, or God forbid they flick a cigarette butt over the UK border. There should be some movement. Okay, it should bring some strength in the oil because it's conflict with an OPEC plus nation. And again, they can throw sanctions on them, saying they're not going to buy it, but they still need to get the oil from somewhere else. If you have a sanctions, like, okay, fine, we don't want Russian oil. Okay, who else is going to produce it, right? Where are we getting that oil from, right? There'll be a demand on other sources. China will take all of it. China like, we'll buy all your oil, right? But it should bring some strength into the dollar CAD. Uh, so I think again, keep the level there. It could be a Sunday night. If it's not, if we just kind of meander around and we go for a U.S. Open, let's see, U.S. Open is right here, right? That could also be an area where we look for the kind of the same thing. And the reason why I say that is because, again, U.S. session opens up on Monday morning. We tend to see oil strength, right? And again, I think that will roll us back around because it is a tested level, so it does make sense on a technical basis. So, decent trade. This is really going to be a timing based play, but I wouldn't really do much with it today. I don't think there's enough time. Dollar Swiss. So you can see dollar Swiss is continuing to grind down. Dollar Swiss, we were looking for 91.94. It rolled. It came up and tried to hit us a second time. Went a little bit above. Dollar Swiss again, I think right now is kind of like a firecracker. The fuse is lit. It's wet, so it may go off. It may not. Um, Again, this is going to be purely a Russia. Whether they do something, they don't do something. Um, Two levels we have lower are 90.84 to 90.77 and 90 to 90.68. We got one here, and we got one here. So you can see the room that we got to go down to. Question is again, if Russia goes, this should definitely have some crazy movement. But right now, I would kind of avoid it unless you're really trying to get into that game. But again, Sunday, I would say until the Russia situation is resolved, look for this to go down. The second it is resolved, if Russia starts pulling troops away from the border, look for this one to turn and spike right back up again. All right, again with dollar strength coming in. There you go. More trade. Again, these were both alerts from yesterday. Yesterday morning, we were sitting right here, right? Right here. This was a no entry, right? We did not get an entry. It came down to tag the profit target. There was an entry that you could have taken on this green candle, right? And if you didn't, if you waited for it to come down in base, you could have got into it again here and went down. So there was two different entries into this one. Both of them went to full profit target, right? Again, no entry on this one because it literally went down and came right back up. But there you go. There's that one extra candle. There's number one. And there is number two. So haven't really left the area. 113.70 was our target. So again, two trades from yesterday into today. Both of them were alerts that popped up. I got the notification both times that it came through. Okay. And right now, I would say, again, being the weekend, I would probably take a pause on this one as well. We know we have buyers stepping in here at 113.49. Again, targets are hit. Now it's basing. We really need to find a good bottom. And even here, we know that this is not the best of levels. It's been hit a few times. Again, not the best of levels. The green was lower than the red. Is there something over here? Yeah, a little bit, but again, keeps punching through it. Not super, super clean. First time we got really any type of a clear kind of true piece is really 113. So got about, 66 pips to go for this one. I would let sleeping dogs lie on this. If we start to rally back up again, I would not take the 114 again. I think 114 at this point, with two different trades coming off 114, I'd be a bit cautious with it. If you want to see if we have any overlaps on it, we can run fibs from here down. 50% actually is at a level. Let's clean some of this up so you guys can see it. Let's pull this. We don't need this anymore. Whoops. That target was hit. That target was hit. Let's pull this big one off. That's out. We don't need that target. I'll leave this up. We're gonna reset the alert. That level's out. That one pushed down. We don't need that. We'll take this one off now just so we can refresh it for next week. But again, there was another full trade from earlier in the week. Got a level sitting right there. I'm gonna keep this one, but we're gonna change this. We've already had two, so we're gonna change this to yellow. So we've had these two banks off the top of it. Yeah, so looks like 114 right there. 114.27. Okay. If we draw the most recent high to where we kind of came this morning, where these touches are, if we get any type of a pullback, I'm assuming we'll have a little bit of a hiccup right here in the middle. I mean, again, they have turned the sellers away twice, but I wouldn't enter that one for a short. But if we do get higher, it is a decent base. And again, it is right within close proximity to that 50%. So what I would say is, this alert. Did I turn it back on? Sometimes. There we go. Relieve that one. let's get a notification when this one comes through, and we'll put it right there at 114.25. Uh, Again, nice little setup for next week. We're a little far from it right now, but just leave it on there. It's about 50 pips, so it's not a trigger for today, but keep that on there. Again, 50% retracement, 114.27. Got an alert set at 14.25. All right, let's go down. You can see cryptos are getting blasted, 6%, 7% down. We did get as low as 37,700, right? I think it comes back down there again. The reason why is this: Feds are kicking off debate issuing its own digital currency. I think once this is there and regulation comes in, it's going to be like, yeah, you can't accept payments because, yeah, we don't know what you're doing those transactions. You're making money over there, great. We want our tax money. That's what's going to boil back down to is tax money. And then again, potentially outlawing it. Yeah, as we go, yeah, I still think it's one of those. It's one of those things. You block the pipeline. You cause the worst inflation in 40 years because you're worried about the environment. But then what do? You accept all the miners that are draining the heck out of the energy grid and creating like enormous amounts of heat. So again, you have something that is extremely bad for the environment. Yeah. So we'll see. I think the bat still comes on this one. I think this comes back down again. And again, overall, I think there is trading opportunity. I mean, whenever anything is as volatile enough that it's down 6% a day, Ethereum down 7.5% a day, there's trading opportunity. Oh, look at that! Dream Killer just triggered, guys. You can see the pop up. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I think I have desktop sounds turned off. We just got our pop up for Dream Killer, right? Our pound yen 30 just went off. So we'll click on it. But overall, I think again, crypto is not really the best place. You're seeing Dogecoin is a little bit more supported. The biggest thing that these need to worry about is the fact that they're talking digital currency and they're saying we want, there needs to be regulation put in this year. Regulate them, right? All right. That means at least for Doji people, I mean, what happens is Elon keeps busting this one higher, higher, higher because he keeps talking. Guess what? That is absolutely would be considered insider trading or manipulation of the market. Yeah, that won't happen if they're regulated. So again, nothing really holds that one up if Elon can't manipulate it. So yeah, just be ready. But we got some time for that. All right, let's go over. Let's go ahead. Let's see Dream Killer. Let's see how it's going. There you go. Dream Killer starting to move. It's going to tempt everybody. Here we go. How much room do we have to run? Got to go 40 pips down. It's there. Did we give? Do we wait for the Harry Potter? We have what? 6 hours? 5 hours? 5 hours. 5 hours of yen strength coming back, and no pound. So, woo, it's there. It's there. We'll see if we get a pullback. Let's go up. Let's do the commodities real quick. Yeah. So right now, literally oil driving right back down again. We always talk about this about the V. How they one goes up, one goes down. Yeah. I mean, notably, it's pretty easy to say that, hey, listen, this went straight up. It didn't really run into much, and now it's going straight down. So, where's oil? 83, 84. Let's clear this one off now. This one, it based and then came through. So let's pull that. Let's pull that. Let's draw this here. 1430. These are old levels. We're going to pull these off. We're going to pull this across. Let's see. That price is at 81.80 again. Let's see. Look at that. Came right back up to the 50. All right. So I'm just going to say this right now. James is not in the channel. My Discord is not open right now. How much you want to bet that James makes one more post about free gas today? Anybody want to bet me? You want to bet me? The fact that this literally pulled right up and turned on the 50, I guarantee that James is going to guarantee it. Guarantee it. Anybody want to take that bet? I bet you 100 pip chips that James makes a post about this one. It's too easy for him not to make it, right? Too easy for him not to make it. Absolutely, he's going to say he absolutely had to take this trade. All right. Wait, Debbie, are you taking the bet that on my side or against me? Which one? I definitely think yeah. I don't think there's a chance. I'm gonna have to open up Discord. It's not. I don't have it open right now, but I can guarantee you that James will be like, "Look at that textbook, halfway back, short." You're gonna go against me? All right, we'll see. He said he was done for the day, right? He said he was done for the day. I am betting that there is a post in there that James took this trade because it came back and snagged a 50, and he's gonna say textbook, right? Textbook is what he's gonna say. But yeah, pretty simple one. For oil, wait for oil to come down. Like I said, I think the exposure to oil is really gonna come. I think the exposure from oil is really going to come this weekend. I think getting long Monday morning would be decent. European session open is where I think we go long. But as far as right now, we don't have as much time left. And again, it's pulling back again, so it's not surprising why this one has dropped. But again, there's a lot of people, a lot of demand in here. So I think price will be stabilized and supported here in a little bit. So we'll see. Remember that market closes early. This is not an end of day type market, so it's only got what 4 hours ago. So a little bit abbreviated. Natural gas didn't. I was waiting for the big spike, but we didn't get the big spike up. It did pull back up again, but didn't give us the spike all the way back up to that 50. But you guys can see we kind of drew the bottom. Whoops. No. We kind of drew the bottom. We missed it by a little bit. I like the fact that it didn't go though. I think we got to keep this up there. $4.07 is the next short. It's pulled back down again. It didn't quite go. So yeah, I would say this one's ready to go for next week. I don't need the orange line anymore, even though we had a base in there. It kind of sliced through it, so there's no point in leaving it in there. We'll keep the chart a little bit cleaner. Yeah, see, it turned off this area, which again, it's been hit a bunch of times. They're not really, like I said, I don't really love a lot of this as far as buying goes until much, much lower. So I'd like to remain, weak on this one. It's just about finding the correct opportunities. But if we can rally back up again, I think 407. I know with the temperature here, people are going to be like, yep, got to go long. But I think at this point, maintain short until we get a decent level, a decent base. This is not really again double bottom base. No interest in taking that one long either. Gold. Let's see what we've got in gold. If there's anything. Nah. Gold bounced off of where were we at here? 1845. That was yesterday, right? Yeah, 930. This is where we were at yesterday. I don't think this one made it all the way in the short. Oh, I was wrong. It did. It made it down 3 o'clock this morning. So it did go to full completion. Again, that was the level that we mentioned from yesterday. So yeah, that one is out. Um, that's a potential level there. I'm gonna throw an alert on that one actually. Let's put an alert here. I'm gonna throw that there. Let's see. This is a potential for next week. Yeah. All right. So basically, what this setup here is it's a break of 1828, looking for overall potential profit targets down here at 1812. Um, just so that one sucks back down. Like I said, rising interest rates is not good for gold and silver, and that data is coming next week. So I'd be kind of looking for this level to kind of base and fail. But if it does, again, I have the alert set on the other side. Look for this one that can, collapse. What, $16? Um, decent little setup there. You got plenty of room for 1 to 3 as well. I don't want to draw it yet because I want to see what it looks like when it bases. But I'd say there's a decent trade setup in there. Um, Silver, similar. It put a top in. We were looking for shorts up at 24.78. Unfortunately, didn't make it and didn't even pull back to its retrace level. So I think this one comes back down to the 124 range. We're 124.36 right now. I marked this off the other day. It's been so much time here, and I do like this pop in here. I would be looking for this to drop. This dotted line is right on the 124 mark, but I think we come down. And again, I do think there's probably a short in here. For me, this one is going to be looking of a base level through here and then pushing back into this, this lower kind of Harry Potter trade that we had set up. This one has a couple short areas, right? We got the area here, and again, taking this over. If we can base in here, there's another push back down to this base, and I would say that this base probably looks like that. And again, we have this racetrack here. So there's a couple different kind of setups in here over the next couple. Oops, no, not that one. Over the next couple days. Okay, but I'm bearish silver. VIX is continuing to spike. Look at this, man. It was starting to slow down and then got crazy. Yeah, so everything's going to remain negative at this point. I was hoping VIX was going to slow down, but let's see what we would have had. Yesterday we were 3 of 4 for the opens, so let's see what we got here. 9:15, 9:30. So yeah, it looks like if we had taken really kind of this basing level here, looks like there is one. And actually, look at this. There's your wick over wick. There's your wick over wick, your touch, your base, and boom, there's your 930 open. So looks like it is already out. So for you open traders, yeah, that's 1 and 3 5. So yeah, that one is out. Okay, there's 1 for 1 so far. Okay. And with it being up 9%, I don't know that I would touch this one today either. See, kind of looking for another little hidden level in here. There's nothing at the 50. 50 is right at 4,500 though. That is probably going to have to be a potential reversal. Let's mark that one off. If this is the bottom, that could be a nice little profit taking. Again, round number 4,500, right? It's sitting right at 4,500, right? Uh, Not really a supply zone, but again, being a psychological number and being a 50% retracement off of yesterday's high to today's low, if we do rally back up there, I think we're good for one more. Probably wouldn't take this other short as well. Again, it was a great little opening trade setup today, but again, it did push it about 60% of the way into that zone, so not worth the secondary risk on it. If it comes up in bases, then again, yeah, absolutely look for 4,500 on that one. So 1 for 1. This one actually looks like it would have. Oh, it's actually the wick over wick is right here. Oof. I mean, it was confirmed. There's your wick over wick. There's a confirmation. It did actually pierce it. I don't know if you guys can see it. It did pierce it. So depending on your broker, you may or may not have got into that trade. Um, but it technically is it's a hit. There's your 1 to 3. So yeah, 2 for 2, and kind of the same idea on this one. Let's run fibs. Let's see where the 50% is. It's not a psychological number, so yeah, we wouldn't want to run fibs on this one. We don't really have a whole lot there. Let's bring this up. I want to see something real quick. Let's go to an hourly. I want to see. Gotcha. There we go. I have to start putting. We've broken out all the psychological levels. Let me see. Let's move this back here to there. $14,429 looks like our next big level, higher level of time frame. Okay, this looks like this could be more of a Monday thing. Actually, this I would say that oof, this is probably not horrible either. Okay, so here's my thing on this one. So unlike the last one, ES did have a very large psychological number at 4,500 up there right at the 50%. So I think that's important to watch out for. This one had the wick over there, and again we're on the 15 minutes on all the opening prints. Again, confirmed here at 5:15 in the morning. Did actually breach it, and again I can zoom in more if you want, but it actually did breach and go through, so it should have been an entry for you. It immediately went down, it blew out its 1 to 3, and then rotated and actually turned down at a level, which again I would have taken it long from there, but it would have been fine. I do think we need to look at this 14, 8, 15, 50 again, because again, it has barely touched that zone and both times it has turned it away. So could it be a potential kind of rally back up again and end of day kind of profit taking? Sure, it could be, right? Just be aware that it has hit it twice. So this is hit number 3. So it's a little bit lower probability. But if we can make it through the lunchtime frame, and that could be a nice little rollover. And again, this one, again, 10-15 reversal, right? 10:30 is when we reverse. This one reversed at 10:15 in the morning, so not a bad little place to make sure that you get your profit. But that's 2 for 2. YM, let's look at that one. YM did it as well. This is the red candle. Yep, the 9:30 candle. So here you go. There's your level of basing. Let's see if this one made. I'm positive this one did it as well. 1 to 3 is right there. So there you go. 3 for 3. And again, if you use the psychological level, 34,500, you're good. This one actually did come down, and we did have this level drawn lower. So again, your target could have been lower. And again, 34,341. It's a level we've had marked off for a couple days, but Magically, it turned off of that. Look at that. Let's see fib wise. What do we got up top? 34, 34.8 is where that's going to be. 34.850. Yeah, I don't think I'd use that one fib wise. Um, yeah, I don't think I'd use that one fib wise. 61 is up top. Nah, I wouldn't use fibs on that one. Um, as far as shorting this one, no, I would not be interested in shorting this one. This Here's the zone formation. There's your hit. There's your pullout. There's your grinding pretty deep in. And the only reason you took this one is because it was at the open. But it's either two or this is hit number three. So not interested in taking this long right now at all. But again, 3 for 3. Let's see if Russell can complete the sweep. Looks like Russell missed it by a bit, right? If we were drawing, really, there's your level of basing. Ah, depending on how you drew this. So if we did it here where we touched the most bottoms, you just missed it. So 3 for 4, 3 for 4. If you would have taken the entire zone, like the entire full candle, the top to the bottom of the screen right here, right? Because there's the bottom of the wick. Then yes, you would have gotten entered, but most people would have looked at it like this and said, okay, and you would have missed it by a little bit. Had you entered, you were 4 for 4. If you didn't, you were 3 for 4, even though it went in the direction of the trade. Off that the opening rule set. So here's your push down. 50 is at this one maybe has something here. Um, Potentially. Let's see. This one is right at 2050 is going to be a psychological level. So yeah, maybe that's where our profit taking comes in at. Again, 50% retracement from high to low, psychological level being a 50. So yeah, potentially, yeah. So, again, depending on how you drew this one, if you took the entire green, which would not have been horrible to do because it's the true level of basing. But again, I'll stay conservative on it. Instead of trying to claim that it was perfect, it was 3 out of 4 this morning on the opening print, and you guys were out in 30 minutes on every single one of them. So nice little morning, nice little morning. Um, Again, 15 minutes of the way to go. If you guys aren't looking at them, you're missing out. So Apple, nice little rally back up again. Tesla had that big drop, but it's coming back up as well. Um, Oil coming back up a little bit. Look at that, all the way down, running back high. Let's see, gold. Gold continuing to drop back down again. Gold, I think, is probably going to be set up for. Gold may actually try to set this one up today. Let's see what the pound is doing. Let's see the Dream Maker. Look at that. There you go. Look at that. Dream Maker pulled right back up again. So no entry yet. No entry yet. But it's trying. It's trying. So, all right. 10:38. Went a little bit late today. Let's go ahead and do the drawing. I heard the boy stomping. Melissa hasn't told me, she hasn't brought him in here yet. Anyway, yesterday was. Who won yesterday? It was not Will. Who was it yesterday? It was a single. Who won yesterday? Who was it, guys? Anyway, we're doing 50 again today because I missed earlier in the week. So this makes up for, we had the double day. Sean won yesterday. Okay. That's right. You're 100% correct, Sean. Although, Sean, you were not entered into the drawing today. Sean's like, I won yesterday, but, I don't need to win twice. I don't need to do it. How are you not in the drawing, Sean? Didn't you do that earlier? You did ticket. Did it not give it to you? Hmm. Oh, now you have 3. That's weird. It deleted you. Huh. I don't know. Hold over the weekend. That's what dreams are made of. Yep, exactly, Briggs. All right. So everybody's going for 50 except Sean. Sean's going for 100 because he gets his double on this one. I thought I did. Yeah, I thought you did too, but it didn't register for some reason. I was like, I know you did. But whatever. It is what it is. All right. Here we go. Let's see who takes today's drawing. Winner of today's drawing is Debbie. Look at that. Debbie finishes out the week. Look at that. It's all because Debbie bet against me. It's probably what it is. Debbie hacked the system. So let's go to leaderboard. Let's give Debbie her 50. There we go. Debbie's fighting off Ernest here. Every time Ernest gets a couple win streak, Debbie's like, no, I got to do it. Yeah, Debbie's like, yep, I'm taking it with 2. Taking it with 2. Oh, here you go. Can the Fed avoid addressing wealth inequality? Not until they raise interest rates. This is probably an interesting read. Um, yeah, this is definitely one. Oh, I guess this is policymakers around the world are recognizing the threats to heightened inequality and pandemic. And again, I think this is absolutely a huge problem that is not talked about right now. So it's nice that they're talking about it. We'll see if the Fed does anything about it. But um, yeah, yeah, the people that are hurting the most from this are like, hey, you gonna help us or what? Consumer confidence leading indicator. Yeah, no, there's nothing else. So all right, that's it. So plenty of opportunities out there. Plenty of opportunity out there, especially on Sunday night. Like I said, the big thing is in Russia's court. We'll see what they're able to do. Again, pound continuing to weaken, but that means we should have some great trading opportunity Sunday, Monday with the pound data. So looking forward to it. Again, definitely make sure you check the newsletter. I'll be updating a bunch of stuff this week. And with that, you guys have a great trading day today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care.